Okay, it's summer here in Houston, Texas, and I just filming because we got a breeze. I hope fall is coming in because we're gonna start running every single one of these cars that I have. So I did pick this one up. Damn, that's heavy. My freaking arm hurts from pull starting this one. I'm not really sure what this is exactly. He told me it was an XB Rampage. This looks like my Rampage XT chassis, the 5th scale buggy. This one had some goofy looking like 3-spoke wheels. I did buy a blue body for it already. It has this giant servo on there, and he said he put 2 on there. So I'm gonna put it back to stock. He doubled up these shock towers, and then he was telling me he was having issues with the bearing heating up and melting the hub. But I like to put these back 100% stock, and then I want to figure out what breaks on them or what needs to be changed on them. Some upgrades like this right here, this is cool. He said the plastic one, he was driving it, he said one of his friends pulled out in front of him in a real car, and his thing went under it and just ripped the cage off. Oh, and broke a spark plug. So that's why he said he bought this metal one, so that doesn't happen again. He gave me this set of freaking Allen drivers. These are like $70 to $100. Matco tools, he threw those in. That was awesome. And then the parts engine and screws, we'll look at that stuff when we get back to my house. He bought new servos. Those are like $60 to $70 a piece, and we'll check that one out. But I'm not gonna lie, I hate to talk crap, but that's just the kind of person I am. I think this one has a lot of rigged up stuff on it. I don't think he had this thing running right, but that is the WALBRO 990, the aftermarket or expensive carburetor with no choke. And I told him, I said, why did you take the choke off of it? He said it didn't have one. And I said, you have to have a choke on these little 2-stroke engines. So he was choking it like that. So that's what I was doing too. And let me just see if I can get this thing started, just so we can hear what it's doing at first, because we're gonna diagnose that when we get to my house. But it does kind of start up. I'm gonna put the phone on the tailgate. This is a big boy. Putting my foot right there. And since it, I don't know. So it definitely starts up, but it has major issues. But it sounds good, it sounds healthy. He said he drove the crap out of this thing, and then one day he woke up and he just had no interest in it. And I totally get that, because it just be like that sometimes. So I brought fuel, he didn't have any, we just put some right in there, and this is how it's been running. So same thing, I was reading about this 990 on the internet. People are saying it starts easier. I cannot believe that in any way, that it starts easier than a carburetor with a choke on it. That just makes no sense. I've been using this to get it started for the first time. I just sprayed in there, bumps. But this WALBRO right here, it's way different adjusted than the normal one. So let's just go ahead and start it up and kind of show you where I'm at right now. I finally got the damn thing where it'll start up. I couldn't start it at all without choking it with my finger now. Okay, you know what? It was just cold because it's not dying like that right now. And I had my low speed. We had it run out a little bit because I thought it was dying, so I gave it more gas. So let's go ahead and try it at 1 1/4. Run 1 1/4 on the low speed, and we just have 1 1/2 on the big one for right now. Oh, see, that's why I had run it out a little bit. So let's try to give it a little more air. I kind of feel bad now, because I was talking shit to this guy, and he had his running like that, like real high, and I told him it wasn't tuned right. Maybe he had one of those carburetors on there, because I just gave it a little bit more air. 1 1/2 turns out on the low speed, and that thing, that's it. It's on the money right there. It's perfect. look at this freaking fiasco. I was at work today and come back, I have my Rustler videos. We're supposed to be doing some tracks and stuff, and then I had to stop because I cannot sleep until I get these things figured out. Whether they're good or bad, I don't know. So let's just test it. I'm not even pulling it hard anymore. I'm just okay, it's running perfect. I don't even think we're going to clean that one out now. Okay, so this one just needed to warm up. You know what's weird, I'd see that in videos where people are warming these things up sometimes, and that's going to depend on where you live. See, it's been 100 degrees and I haven't had to warm up the MT, and it's 93. So this thing needed to warm up a little bit at 93 degrees. It makes perfect sense. I'm not speculating out of my butt right now. I'm being dead serious. It's a lot cooler here today. Fall hopefully is coming earlier in Houston, Texas. So this video kind of changed a little bit because I was having a lot of trouble with this 990 WALBRO chokeless carburetor. So as you can see, I started getting all the ones out. This is the one that came on mine that had screwed up parts in it. It's Ruxing. This is the one that came as spare parts for this one, the Ruxing, the stock one. I actually cleaned this one out and I was about to put this back on because I was having trouble getting this chokeless one started. And then this is a piece of shit. Do not buy this. This is the no-name $14 one. I just bought it because it came with a spark plug and some fuel lines. I couldn't find the spark plug by itself, and the reason I bought this is because it does have gaskets in it and miscellaneous parts like the diaphragm. But the carb itself is not usable. It would probably work just fine, but right there is your rod for your linkage on your RC car, so it doesn't give you that. You have to hook it up like a lawnmower style with a cable. So that's the only reason we can't use it. It did not come with a primer bulb, but you know what? You don't need a primer bulb. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm brand new to these small carburetors, but whenever you pump that priming button, you're not shooting fuel into the carburetor. You're just priming up the system. Now it is possible it could leak some in there, but I was watching this one pulled off, priming that bulb with new fuel lines, and it was not squirting any into the carburetor. So the priming system just primes everything up to this point, and now the vacuum will suck it in naturally. So next thing to familiarize yourself is throttle at 0 or closed 100%. That means you run that screw down until the throttle is 100% closed. So we have to be making contact with the screw right when it opens. Find that sweet spot, and that's your 0. Maybe put a paint pen mark on there or whatever. Now that's where you're going to start. Since we don't have a choke on this one, we have to figure out how to open our throttle. We have a throttle position for idle or start. So mine is about 2.5 turns from 0 to get the thing started. Now familiarize yourself with the up and down on that screw. You're going to use that as a reference point at all time. Now how I got this damn thing started the first time was not by priming it and not by pulling it. I just squirt a little bit of this in there, a little 1-second burst, and that's all I had to do, and this thing will start up and bump. So when they start up and bump, they kind of go wow. They make a little different sound, and that's only because the throttle is a little bit open. All right, see it's bumping a little bit. If it's not bumping, go ahead and start with quarter turns. All right, you see it bumping. We could go ahead and keep trying to start it. So that magic number where we had it is to start it. And then if you noticed, I lowered it down 1 full turn. And then what we did was we slowly backed off of it until it died. And it did not like that quarter turn. It will not run. We had to give it 1 1/8 turns after we started. So you have to find that measurement to start your vehicle. And then once you do, we lowered it down to run it, play with it. We got our lowest idle possible. Then when we shut it off, we run it back up that 1 turn to start it next time. Because look, an idle is the minimum amount of fuel and air to run this engine. And a lot of times an idle is lean it will not start like this. See, well, it's trying to, but that's what I was showing earlier by creeping up with the half turns. So when we shut it off, we run it up one more turn, and if it's the next day, you don't have to prime it. But if it's a week or something that goes by, I'm telling you, get you some of this, just give it a little squirt, it'll start up. Or you're going to be pulling it because you're going to have to get that vacuum working, and you might end up pulling this thing maybe 3 to 5 times to get it to bump at first until you learn it. That's why I'm showing you how to set this needle up to minimize those pulls. So now it should just start right up. This freaking carburetor feels stronger because it doesn't have a choke, and in performance anything, they didn't want to remove the choke. They did because they don't have anything in that space, so the air has that much more room to flow. It's being restricted and knocked around by the choke, so I'm guessing that's why they did that. They did smooth out everything and opened it up. It is a different carburetor. It's tuned completely different from these. These are easy, but I'm not gonna lie, I struggled with this one for a few hours yesterday. Like I said, I had cleaned this one up and I was gonna go back to it, and I was talking to the guy right now. I sent him that video of it running, and he thought I took that carburetor off because evidently he was having problems with this thing too. Remember, when we shut it off, just give it that one turn and an eighth or whatever you have it set at, and you will always be able to get this damn thing started. Does it make sense why I have it up on the table to show you I'm not jerking the crap out of these pulls? These are like lap pulls. It's real funny that I'm new to this stuff and it tells you eighth turns, because literally the difference from this thing and dying and staying alive is an eighth of a turn. So remember, eighth of a turn. If you don't understand that, there's 8 slices in a pizza, so just imagine those pizza slices and just turn up to 1 pizza slice. But I'm super happy because this one gave me the most anxiety of every gas nitro RC car I've had so far, because I paid $350 for this thing. So that is just covering the idle circuit, how to initially start your carburetor. So see, I almost forgot to go back and give it that 8th and 1 turn. Now next time we go to start this thing, it's gonna start right back up. Remember, this is only to prime it, so if you don't have fuel in this bubble, you're just gonna push this bubble until it kind of fills up with fuel or has fuel in it. So I always film my projects, but I don't always upload everything because it's not worthy of a video. But since we have to go through these double servos, I'm going to put it back to 1 servo. I know it doesn't need 2 of those giant servos on there. And I had to, well, I'm going to order the new linkage because he had customized the linkage to fit an aftermarket air filter that's not for this. And instead of just taking this and putting this one back on, he rerouted all the metal lines and screwed everything up. So obviously making this video for people that are struggling with this carburetor. Now you have some kind of idea where to start. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.